Wellness and good blessings. I am Dr. Magazine Richwell, and I am here with, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Joanne Justis, and I'm a Chaldean mathematician who is a recognized worldwide authority on Chaldean Numerology, the ancient science of numbers, and also the mathematical science.
Yes, and we are here representing the College of Metaphysical Studies, and numbers are you. And this is such a fantastic opportunity. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to interview you.
Great.
So you started with introducing yourself, and it went kind of fast. For the lame person who does not know what any of this is, would you just simplify it by telling us what you do as a spiritual gift?
Okay, so I'm an intuitive healer, and I use a software program that I developed that decodes your frequencies from your name and your birth date, and I turn it into a blueprint or a personal assessment on the individual, and I know everything about that individual as a result of the blueprint based on what they were assigned at birth. Using ancient mathematical formulas that are very proven and very accurate.
And I was going to ask you how you define that spiritual gift. So you say accurate. Oh my goodness, describe how so.
Well, I'm a mathematical intuitive. And as a result, I was given very special gifts. Don't know why I was selected, but here I am. And the family that I was born into, the history of where all this came from and how I've developed it, enhanced it. So like anything else, we send men to the moon, right?
Yes, we do.
How do we do that? We do that with computers, with brilliant people, with analysis, with algorithms. All of that comes into play in order to see the big picture of, what it is we're trying, how we apply the application. I am no different. I have the ability to use a system that I'm passionate about and that I was basically born with, that enables me to do the work that I do.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Now let me ask you, how far do you see these spiritual gifts reaching?
Indefinite. And the reason for that is I have other gifts for other reasons, and I get constant downloads all the time. And when I'm doing a personalized reading, a consultation, it's really not me speaking. I'm the channel. And half the time I don't even know what's coming through me, and it's being downloaded from my guides. It's information I obtain all the time.
No, I see. And I would say, you say from your guides, and this is a little bit of, it's not a tricky question, and hopefully it's not a complicated question, but I would like to know, for the concerned Christian,
yes,
how can a Christian access your gift without a feeling of being spiritually negligent or spiritually harmed?
That's a really good question. So let me put it this way. This is a mathematical formula. This is no different than a Christian wanting a credit card. They fill out an application with all their personal information in it. The application gets processed, and hopefully they get the credit card, right? The end result. Right. I'm doing the same thing as the bank. I am processing your name and your date of birth and turning that into a blueprint or a character analysis of the individual. So there's no harm. In fact, this is a prerequisite to speeding up the process of personal development, finding your purpose and fulfillment. This has nothing to do with the spirituality of being a Christian. This is just merely a mathematical process that enables me to create something that other people haven't discovered to the level that I have.
I see. That's great. And that's a great answer. Thank you so much for that. You say blueprint. What is a blueprint?
It's a character analysis. It's a profile. It tells everything about an individual. My particular blueprints are unique because it goes into what's included in a blueprint is your intellect, your emotion, your personality, your purpose, your personal years, a look into the future, your karmic development area in this lifetime, emotional, physical obstacle course, and your opportunities that are waiting for you when you get through the obstacle course. And of course, you have 8 life lessons. Those life lessons tend to have to interfere with your growth because they're all related. We're a student of life here for development, and it's all connected. And one trait or component hinges on another trait, and some of them don't like each other. So if you understand the big picture of how you're wired from the inside out from your control panel, you're going to get it. The light goes on and said, wow, if I'd only had that information earlier, I would have done this, that, or something else. I get that all the time, especially from clients who have had years of therapy. And I'm not knocking therapy because it's very important, but you know, with therapy, they got to crack the nut and they got to try different programs before they get it right. With me, less than an hour, I can tell you everything you need to know about you from the inside out, with the individual being able to ask me questions so they understand how to apply the knowledge.
Yes. And we speak of blueprint. Why? Well, you just explained why a person might need a blueprint. So what information is required in order for you to, generate a blueprint?
Very simple. I need the name, the birth name, the full birth name that was on your original birth certificate because you might have been adopted, and your date of birth. That's all I need. I don't need time because that's astrology. Those 2 components are what I need to decode your DNA code as how I see it.
I see. All righty. Let me see what other questions I might have. How long is in terms of the blueprint, how long is it valid for?
Lifetime, from birth until advanced age or to the end of life. With cycles for each of the components, have an age cycle, so you can know specifically in advance of what you're likely to experience. Now you have free will and choice. So, people will call me up and say, well, that didn't quite happen. And I'll say, well, I didn't make your choices, you did. So your choices equal the results, do they not?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do equal your result. If a person's name, because I know that numerology is very precise and specific, if a person's name is misspelled on their birth certificate, and it's not legally corrected, then what happens,
Okay, this is the way it works. Whatever name was inked onto your original birth certificate, whether it was baby A or misspelled, you must always use the spelling. That's different than the date of birth. If you know your date of birth was never corrected and you're very adamant about that date of birth should be this instead of what was on birth certificate, that can be changed, but never ever the name. Because the name reveals your personal characteristics, traits, and behavior patterns, and the name is very specialized as to how it has to be generated. Those are the rules.
Well, what if I was adopted and I don't know my real birth name?
Well, let me put it this way. You need to know what your original birth name is in order to compare. That's program A with your current legal name, which is program B. You need to compare the 2. Now, there are only 3 behavioral traits that change when you change your name. It would be your emotion, personality, and purpose. So you're only getting a snapshot of what's changed. But if you don't have that original information, then the best thing you can do is to generate the blueprint with your current information that you have no doubt bonded to for a period of time, but you'll never get the 100% accuracy that comes from program A that is with you from birth until the end of time.
I see. All righty. Let's see. So for the person who has changed their name, wouldn't they require 2 reports? And if so, why would 2 reports be required?
Great question. Yes, they would require 2 reports, 2 blueprints, one for the birth name, which everyone needs to have. That is with you forever and ever. And when you legally change your name, as I said, you only change 3 of the components. So you need to know what the effect of the name change is by comparing A to B. Because when you change your name legally, and people don't know this, obviously, this is not part of our education system, you can have the identical blueprint to program A, the birth blueprint. It can be slightly different or drastically different, the changes. For example, you might have come in with a personality of the butterfly, happy, go lucky, joyful. And when you changed your name, that the superseded trait became an intellectual, a hermit, a loner. Those two don't like each other. That's a major conflict in frequency traits. So you need to know what the adjustment was when in fact you changed your name. And that's why you need 2 reports. You need the birth report and you need the addendum, just like an addendum to a contract that says this is different from what you came in with. And the rest of the components in your birth blueprint remain the same.
Yes, yes. So we're going to go on break for a bit. And when I come back, I have more questions. Please announce yourself, how a person can reach you, etc.
Okay.
So your name?
Joanne Justis. My company is Numbers Are You. We're an innovative company dedicated to assisting individuals in discovering their purpose, their talents, and the big picture of who they really, really are, and finding fulfillment.
Yes, and how may we reach you? And how may you be reached?
My phone number is 408-399-3101, or my email is inquiries@numbers, plural, letter R, letter U.com.
Thank you. And we'll be back in just a second. And we are back. All right. So, you have your skeptics and your naysayers, or maybe they don't even consider themselves to be a naysayer. But for the person who does not agree with the information, what do you have to say about that? The information generated on a report.
Okay, well, 2 things. First of all, if they're not interested, they're not going to get a report. If they're not open to getting outside of their boundaries, they're not going to be interested anyway. And the thing of it is you cannot influence, nor do I want to try to influence someone who doesn't have an open mind. A new mind equals new results. Here's an example. Larry King, years ago, interviewed the people who produced the secret video. Everybody loved it. And they were so excited. And the question he asked everyone is, don't you want everyone to have it? And they said, no, because those people who don't get it, aren't interested, are not on the same path. And we're only interested in working with people who we can influence and make a difference in their lives. I'm the same way.
All right. And in terms of the blueprint, the report, all of that, can it be used for dating?
Oh boy, can it. Let me tell you, I have one client who continually has dated for years. I've done 11 reports on the different men that she's brought home. And her requirement, and she tells them up front, is we have to do this reading. I need to know how you're wired from the inside out, comparing his components or traits to hers to see if this looks like it's going to be a match on paper. Now, people come from different backgrounds, different religious, different abuse experiences and stuff like that. So you have to take that into consideration. But I can tell so much about an individual, and I have many women who come to me who have chosen someone who's very successful, doesn't have all the gentle, loving, joyful numbers, but is very successful. And they know coming to me when I do the reading about this person of interest, that this is the end result. They already knew in their heart, this is what I was going to say, but they just wanted confirmation from a perfect stranger, right? Who trusts what I'm saying because of my experience and knowing that I've done this for decades.
Yes, yes. I'm so
I wouldn't.
excited about this process, this collaboration between us. How do you see these spiritual gifts playing a role within the College of Metaphysical Studies, the students and the organization?
Wow, I would say that everyone's going to be ahead of the game, cutting through the chase by getting the blueprint, or it could be also termed an owner's manual, to excel in their personal development, to find their purpose and fulfillment. You have to know how you're wired from the inside out. Here's another example. If you wanted to hire an electrician to hire some electrical fans, right? Ceiling fans.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them into the house, and the first thing you do is you show them what room you want the fans in, right?
Yes.
So what's the second thing you do? You take him to the control panel to see how the house is wired to know how he does the job. So we are no different. This is the human design, like an architectural drawing with a house. You've got all these pages of, what the house looks like and how you can move things around. But without this knowledge, you're tripping over yourself. You can cut through the chase by years by knowing what areas you need to work on, what areas you excel in. This is not just a negative report, and it isn't a negative report. It tells you the pros and cons, like reading a consumer report, of what you need to work on. And the areas you might think that you don't have talent in, where you have lots of talent. It is absolutely a navigation system for every individual. Should have one of these.
I'm signing up. Well, my questions about Chaldean numerology. Oh, that brings about my next question. Chaldean, can you explain that and where the origination of Chaldean numerology?
Certainly. Well, you can trace Chaldean numerology, which is a universal to all cultures, from recorded history, which is 4004 BCE forward. It's traceable. It comes from the Babylonian days. These were the Chaldees that introduced astrology and mathematics to the world. So they knew what they were doing. These were scholars. These were mathematicians. This is not about religion, voodoo, witchcraft, or any of that stuff. They got a bad rap in the very beginning when history was recorded incorrectly. They said, for example, Pythagoras was the father of Western numerology. I don't know how that can happen when he studied with the Chaldees and had a school, and he died 400 years before the Western system was introduced. So, history didn't get it right. And most people don't get it right because the Western system of numbers is really easy to learn. Chaldean is very difficult, or complex, shall we say, instead of difficult. There are a lot of rules you have to know how to use in order to make sure that you have a 200% report for that individual. I would never have considered doing this if I wasn't so darn sure of what I give, the information I give in the report that I produce for my clients. This is my life's work. And I didn't.
That you have even a written publication. Can you tell us about that?
I have an encyclopedia that I co-authored with another Chaldean master. And it goes into the history of where numerology originated from, the different systems, why they don't work, and then specifically Chaldean, the formulas and how to use them, and the rules.
And the name of this encyclopedia?
Numbers, the Powerful Bridge Beyond, Chaldean Numerology for the Millennials.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm sure the millennials are going to be very excited too as this information hits their hands, their hearts, and their heads. Well, this ends our interview. Once again, please tell the general public and the students and everyone how to contact you.
Okay, well, my website is www.numbers, plural, NUMBERS, letter R, letter U.com. You can email me at inquiries@numbersru.com, or you can call me at 408-399-3101. I'm in Los Gatos, California.
Yes. And for us, of course, I'm Dr. Magazine Richwell, representing the College of Metaphysical Studies, and you can reach us at www.TCOM, that's Tom, Cat, Owl, Margaret, edu.org. Thank you.